coming. I hope everyone enjoyed their spring break. I hate spring break, all you mothers. Gone, not working. But we're glad that y'all can regroup with us. Get your ass back to work now. Get your kids in school, get back to work. No, it is always slower. It's funny to me because remember the majority of realtors are women and most of them have children. And so it is naturally just slower during the weeks of spring break. And between the rodeo and spring break, I mean, the number of showings, even at HAR, the websites that hit on HAR were off 60% during the weeks, the 2 weeks of spring break. And we talked about it at my HAR meeting. It's really the first year in 5 years that we've had a normal year. Remember, we've been in the recession and people had staycations in 2008, 9, 10, 11, and 12. They finally felt like they could go on vacation in 13, and they finally felt like they could afford it in 2014. So more people traveled this year for spring break from Houston than they had in years before or whatever. So it was just an interesting little phenomenon there. But I do think if you put on a listing and it was a little slow, or if you hadn't had a lot of showings over the last 2 weeks, I think it will pick back up here now that we're kind of past the spring break deal. On our calendar, tonight we have what is the continuation of our independent film series that we're doing. And tonight is Napa Valley Dreams. I wore Cabernet today in honor of Napa Valley Dreams here. This event's at 6:30 tonight. It's a lot of fun. It's at 14 pews. We'll be serving Napa Valley wine, and Ms. Pettit will have a lot of other fun movie festivities or whatever. There's still time for you to invite your friends or clients or anyone that's interested. I think we're going to have a fairly large turnout. Aaron has done a better job of emailing out the information, and I had probably 10 people RSVP this time that had never done it before or whatever. So it appears to be a large crowd tonight.
This is a shorter movie, too.
Yes, it's only about 45 minutes. I'm going to talk a little bit first, so we'll get there at 6:30. We're going to play the movie at 7:15. 7:10. And this is just a little trailer, kind of, if you want to click on this, Aaron. You know, but it's talking about this magical place of Napa.
Sometimes you're so busy that you forget to just stop and look around and smell the clean air that's around.
Huh.
So our IT guy come today?
Yeah. I hope so.
Oh, no.
Oh,
Not another
no.
stoppage in the...
It's okay. That's all right. We can get off that.
Okay, we can
It
get
really is. This is about
Get off.
the soil and the climate and the evolution of this area. Geographically, it's a very unique place because of its proximity to the coast and its altitude and the mountains and how the temperature affects the soil, which impacts the grapes. This region is an agriculture region or whatever, but literally, I mentioned before after my last trip, an acre of land is $400,000 before you start planting a little vine over there that you're going to plant and harvest 8 and 10 years down the road. You're going to plant, you're going to harvest, you're going to hold it 4 or 5 years. It's amazing to me the billions and billions and billions of investment that people have made into this area, which makes it the same problem that we're having throughout the city. Where does the teacher live? Where does the waitress live? Where does the hotel person live? They have to live an hour, hour and a half away in order, they can't afford to live in the region anymore. I mean, it's extremely, extremely expensive. But it's going to be a fun night, and hopefully you can come, and you still have time to invite your friends there if you'd like. I want to update you on the flood insurance. What is now, we've been talking since the last meeting about the Biggers Waters Act. The President has now signed the Homeowner Flood Insurance Affordability Act, which basically comes into play. We're going to send out this link from FEMA to you later today. There is a real estate little synopsis that I think you need to know about. We're going to send this to you also, which is giving you an update. Basically, the Biggers Waters Act ruled that people should pay for the fair market value of their flood risk, okay? These flood insurance policies have been subsidized by the federal government since the 60s. The true risk cost is extremely expensive. In areas like League City and Texas City and Galveston, the actual cost of the insurance is probably $25,000 or $30,000 a year. The current rates are somewhere between $1,500 and $2,500. The act would have required that the homeowner pay the $25,000 or $30,000. And the act still is in effect. Because of the steep incline that I had been nervous about, because it impacts Humble, it impacts Shady Acres, it impacts a lot of areas, all of Brays Heights and the Brays Bayou area, it impacts a large area of our selling area. What the act does is cap the increase at 18% per year for the next 5 years. So people will be able to better adjust to the rising rate of flood insurance. But more importantly, where the policies had been grandfathered, if you had a beach house in Galveston that was built in 1975 and you sold that house, you could transfer your policy to the next buyer. And for 5 years, it looks like they're going to allow you to transfer that policy to a buyer. It will still go up by 18%, but in the Biggers Waters Act, you were not able to transfer it. And so if you sold the house and you were paying $1,800 and the new guy had to pay $18,000, it was going to cause a severe impact into the pricing of houses or whatever. So this little form is going to update you more about that. I think you're going to see more about it. Yes?
In 18 years, at 18%, in 5 years.
In 5, the rate is still going up. And you'll notice again in the paper today. I mean, you understand. You are all subsidizing the people who are living in high-risk areas. I don't want to subsidize someone who lives in a house that's flooded 3 times in the past 5 years. I don't want to pay for them to rebuild there. I really don't. It's not a good use of my taxpayer dollars to bail them out and pay hundreds of thousands of dollars for a house that has flooded, because let's just be clear. If it has flooded, it's going to flood again.
So
There's only the soil sinking, the water's rising, and there's more concrete all around the city, and so it's higher risk to flood.
So every year it's an additional 18% totaling
correct.
up to 90%
That's
increase
correct.
in 5 years. Okay.
So this program is subsidized at $30 to $50 billion a year from the U.S. government. They're not going to subsidize these programs anymore.
But it's not just Humble. I mean, Hearts of West Hugh.
Absolutely.
It's
It's
wide
Bel Air.
absolutely.
We're in
It's used there. It's right here. Absolutely it is.
It's higher.
Absolutely it is. So it did a few more things. I'm just kind of hitting you with this snap. At least, we're talking at the sales meeting at the beginning of the year. It was going to be catastrophic to some of these areas if the policies went from $1,800 to $28,000 a year. It's going to be this way. At least one can ease into it. There is a big push to redo the maps. We're not sure the maps are totally accurate. That'll be another whole little discussion for the next year or two to kind of try and see if they can get some of these properties out of the flood zones.
Do you
But
encourage us to communicate?
I do. If you're in any area of high risk, I'm thinking that you should include this information and information from other sources. We're going to show you how to do that.
If you have an elevation certificate saying that the base flood line is above the flood line of the house is above the base flood line, does that,
Kick out of here.
do you still have to pay that?
Yes, you do. No. If your base elevation is out, no, the flood policy is still going to be $377.
Okay, as long as you're above that.
Back to the FEMA deal. This website, which we're going to email to you, the FEMA one, is very good. It talks all about, go back to the main one, about building in which zone, rebuilding in a zone. It's talking about elevation certificates. Go up just a little bit. It talks about risk and rates. This is a very good resource for individuals. They just updated this yesterday or whatever, and so keep going up. And it talks about an elevation certificate and flood risk and subsidized rates. It's an excellent resource for you to refer to. And we're gonna send this out to you right after the meeting. And then there's one specifically just for realtors in there. Any questions about that? Okay. I want to kind of address, we have made one more minor adjustment into our company flow here. I have moved Eric out of operations for the company and moved him over into my side to help me directly with what I do, which elevated Arturo. Arturo got a promotion, not a demotion, let's be clear. So Arturo is responsible for the company items and not necessarily my listings. He'll help me with special project. He's over there working on a punch list on my Coleridge property at the moment. But he's responsible for the agent files, my calendar, the company calendar, following up with the independent contractor agreements. Anything to do with 1545 Heights Venture, Arturo became responsible for. Anything to do with my listings, Eric became responsible for. So he'll handle the open houses, he'll handle the feedback, he'll handle the walkthroughs. He moved out of the company over onto my side to help me. So I have Arturo, Eric, Brandon, and Frank. Sorry. So now he can still help a little bit. Lorna, we moved over into this office, and she'll manage both offices from this location, and will take on many of the responsibilities that Eric had, but she'll be the office managers for both locations. So if you're out of toner cartridges or paper or water, or you're leaving something to be picked up from Commonwealth, you got to communicate through Lorna, who will communicate to the 4 receptionists on the deal. So minor change there. So we've updated the flow chart so people can understand. Eric is more helping me with my business stuff there. Which means if you want to do an open house, you'll still go to Eric. If you want to know something about my listings or something, you'll still go to Eric. If you need help with the contract, you'll still go to Brandon if I'm not available.
But that's on your stuff, right?
Yeah. What?
That's on your stuff, go to
I'm not-
Eric, but for our stuff, we need to be.
You can
You'll still come to me, and if I'm busy, you'll get Brandon.
Okay.
So if you want to know how paragraph 12A works, and you would call me, and I was busy, you would get Brandon. You probably wouldn't get Eric.
Gotcha.
If you want to know how addendum C would work and how it replaced addendum B, and I was busy, you'd get Brandon.
Okay.
Okay. I want to make sure that I introduce all the new agents that we have, and I'm terrible with these last names and stuff, so probably won't even go there. So Wilma, stand and let meet Wilma. Wilma's been with us. Tell us just the 2-minute drill of where you came from.
Well, I had my own real estate company, broker, and just had a little hiatus because of family illness. And then when I decided to get back in real estate business, I decided to come over here. I've known Lorna for several years, and wherever she goes, I go.
Thank you very much. Amber?
Hi, Amber Moaz, and I've had my real estate license for about 9 years, and I've dabbled in a few things from apartment locating to flipping houses. And then my son is 6 years old, and he just started school full-time, and so I'm ready to get serious. I did pretty well underneath a smaller broker, Santiago and Associates. It was just the 2 of us, and I did pretty well last year, but now I'm ready to go to the next level, and I'm here.
Very
and
good.
very excited.
Thank you very much. Andrea?
Hello, I'm Andrea. I too have had my license for about 10 years now. I got into real estate working for Edith Personette. I don't know if any of you remember her, but really enjoyed selling high-rises. Kind of took a break also. When I got back into it, I worked for Sudolph for about 4 months. I'm really glad to be here now. Anyway, I'm sure I'll be coming to you guys with lots of questions because it's been a while since I've done this side of it.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Those are our new speakers. I just wanted you to meet them. So in our calendar, we will meet the 1st of April next Tuesday. We're going to meet the following Tuesday. And then the middle of April, April 15th, 16th, and 17th, we won't have meetings, but we'll have what is our Boulevard University training program or whatever. It's volunteer. We're going to send out the information, and I'll be explaining again about it over the next 2 weeks or whatever. But Tuesday, the 15th, will be intense on the buyer side. We'll go over contracts, everything to do with the buyer side of real estate, from the financing addendum, the seller's disclosure, anything you want, inspections. We're going to kind of have this intense buyer side. Wednesday will be the selling or listing side. I've got a listing now. What do I do? How do I get a listing? What do I do with my listing? What happens when my listing's over? That sort of thing. And Thursday will be special projects, marketing, promotions, intense training, or whatever. So it's just kind of an intense deal 3 days. We'll start at 10, try and finish somewhere around 2:30 so that mothers can pick up their children if needed. We'll serve a lunch. We'll have a little break or two in between there, so I'll be explaining more about that coming up also.
Did you say a date?
It is the 15th, 16th, and 17th, the Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, the middle of April. We are, this is floor time. This is the Tuesday before the first of the month. So you can start signing up for April's floor time starting today. You can sign up for 3 spots a week for the month of April until the 5th of April, and which time, if there are any other vacancies or holes in the floor time, you can fill in as much as you want. So it gives people basically about 10 days to sign up for floor time, and if there are holes, someone wants 7 spots in a week, they can take them or whatever. So you go online to the back agent and you can sign up now 3 spots a week.
Bill, can I make a
Mhm.
suggestion?
Sure.
If people are not gonna be present for their floor time, if they could go into the website and just cancel it?
They can, or if they'll let Lorna know, Lorna can send out an email too and say, there's, you know, due to a closing that came up, there's gonna be a hole on Wednesday from 2 to 4, if anyone wants it, to see what happens. Because if they just delete it, not enough people are gonna know to go look every hour or whatever. But yes, I do, it's a perfect suggestion. You should be able to go in and delete if you want to. But if you'll let us know the day ahead of time or something, then Lorna can put out a little email or up on back agent and say, there's a, you know, due to a death in the family, there's now a vacancy on Wednesday from 2 to 4, something of that nature. Next week also, we're going to talk in depth about homestead and homestead exemption and notification of your clients from last year about homestead, and we'll have the documentation. I'm just letting you know 1 week in advance that we're going to talk about that, because individuals have until April 30th to make sure that they've applied for homestead for 2014. We're thoroughly going to discuss it, give you the paperwork that you would send out to your clients for those of you that sold houses in 2013 or anyone else that you want. It's information that you can put back on your Facebook page or that sort of information also. So that will be one of our topics for next week. Our basic topics for the entire month of April, though, stem from marketing. Marketing and branding yourself and the firm. And today's topics are really going to be about Boulevard Realty's marketing deal, so that you have an understanding about Boulevard Realty, where we market, how we market, and how we're branding. Next week is really going to be fundamentally about you. Jerry Jaggers, what are you doing to market yourself? And who are you marketing to? How are you marketing to your past clients? How are you trying to get new clients? How are you marketing to the realtor community? We're going to take specific individuals about things that you're doing. Because remember, there's my perspective from Boulevard Realty or Bill Baldwin, and then there's your perspective. So today's real information series stems from Boulevard Realty and what we are doing to market ourselves. So what do we have up here? You can delete this one now. You can delete this one. We advertise Boulevard Realty in a lot of places that I'm not even sure that you recognize. So what we're going to do later this week and before next Tuesday is Aaron's going to come up with a little sheet like this that shows you all the places that in 2014 Boulevard Realty is advertising. So as a company, we are advertising on a fairly regular basis into the Chronicle and to Chron.com. We're advertising in Houston Modern Luxury. We're advertising in Bayou City Magazine. We're advertising in Houstonia. We're advertising in the Heights pages, in the Leader, in the Galveston Daily News, in Houston Lawyer Magazine, in Architectural Digest, in the New Yorker Magazine, in Bon Appetit Magazine, in M. Penner's Personal Magazine for Corporate Shopping, in Milu, which is a designer magazine of Pamela Pierce's. We advertise in the Catholic Missalettes for All Saints, and we do other things throughout the diocese. We advertise.
The bulletin.
Is that what it's called?
It's the bulletin.
I'm Baptist, so I don't really know how that works. We advertise in HoustonModern.net. Advertise on Swamp Lot. So I'm paying to place these advertisements in a wide variety of places. There are times that we would be in the Houston Business Journal, or in the Buzz, or in 002, or in Paper City. Site is another place we advertise a lot. We've advertised all last year at Houston Realtor Magazine, and we're working on Garden and Gun, the Wall Street Journal, and My Table. Those are places I'm placing advertisements on a fairly regular basis. If you've never come to HoustonModern.net, it's where modern people come to shop for furniture, real estate, design, lighting, or whatever. We're the only realtor that advertises at HoustonModern.net. We've been there about 4 years. Now, they have other listings. Of course, they have to have modern houses. So Martha Turner might have a listing, or John Daugherty have a listing. But when you click to the real estate section, and the ads fluctuate, so I don't ever really know exactly what's going to be there. Let's just see what's going to be there. We've got another problem here. Dave, IT Tuesdays. But I hate this. Okay, but it's not that important.
I'll fix it later.
We advertise on these deals. It's a great resource for the modern people. Eric?
For the modern
Do
people.
something. Well, we're going to need to get on for our other little site, right?
We have that pulled up as a PDF.
Okay, so tied to that, we'll just jump to that location real quick. We are teaming with HoustonModern.net, who has DallasModern.net, who has PhoenixModern.net. They've been doing these sort of publications for a while in these other cities. So we're taking this publication and we are mailing out to Houston Modern Net's database over 6,000 direct mail pieces of a little brochure. It is about, how many pages is there?
12.
12 pages. We sold a couple of ads to modern people. Who do we have?
We have
Internum.
Furniture, Ligne Rosé, Lighting and Furniture, and Roche Bobois.
And what we're trying to do is get into their client base at Roche Bobois and Internum, people that we don't automatically have a certain relationship with. So we're mailing to the 6,000 people that have either bought a modern house or inquired about a modern house or signed up for the email blast from HoustonModern.net. We're intentionally trying to go after a niche marketing of modern buyers. Modern furniture people, modern art people, modern anything. So this little brochure, and we're going to do this 4 times this year. The first one is coming out in about 10 days. We'll get a couple of thousand extra of these brochures that we can use. You can use them, put your little label on them, whatever you want to do with them, we're just going to have them. We're going to distribute them at a few places or whatever. But this is very modern. We did a story on Shade House development. My clients, Matt and Tina Ford, who have the row houses on 25th Street. It's just a pure feature article about them. And then we did a feature article about New Living and Jeff Kaplan and their furniture and paint and stuff. Can we keep going?
Nope.
Nope. It's really impressive. Sorry you can't see it. Erin will probably put the mock-up one more time later today on the island or whatever that you can see. It's a really neat little deal. It's about this big. It's 12 pages. It's very interactive. And I think it's going to be good. We're going to send this one out in March. We're going to do another one in June. Another in July. The next one when?
September.
And then the last one in December or January. So I think it's a great opportunity for us to reach a niche marketing that we didn't have really a great impact into. So hopefully something will come from that. What I want you to be able to do, talk about this more next week, is take this modern deal and go after a modern townhouse developer. Go after a listing that's modern. Go after someone. Use this as a tool to say this is how we're reaching out to modern people. If I ever go to any modern deal, and it can be, remember we have Michel, which is craftsman modern going on over here. You got plenty of modern structures going on. But if you go on a listing agreement and you pull up this deal and Boulevard Realty's flashing over there all the time, it's pretty helpful to help you get that listing. Especially if Martha Turner's listing is right there and Boulevard Realty's flashing in front of their name the entire time. It's a pretty good little deal. Remember, they can go and just link right on to our website from any of these spaces also. So,
Can we get, I think we discussed this a little bit at the January South meeting, but it's great, it's very helpful to have that thing like the horror one that talks about the various different places that we advertise, but could we in addition have somewhere out on Back Agent or some other resource where we can go get the printed copies of those, either mock-ups or what actually ran
Sure can.
or whatever?
sure we can.
So we can use that in either, in whatever, you know, whatever means that we need to use that.
There might be a problem with that.
And that is,
Yeah, we can take our ads, we can take this ad right here.
Eh,
We own this ad. We own this ad. Yes, nobody sued me for it.
We used to always keep
I
after
mean-
the magazines and stuff for the last couple of months. We always had those, and then we would just, rotate them
Yeah.
as it went. And just
Okay,
keep a
fine.
stack.
There's not a problem with that, I'm just telling you
But if
that.
I take this ad, I can place this ad in 15 different magazines.
You can,
It's my ad.
you can.
And if
But
I.
then
and I
when
can
someone goes and says, this is an ad that appeared in wherever it was,
Yeah.
I don't want to reprint it. I
huh?
don't want to publicize it on my website.
Okay.
I want to use it when I go
A
after
listing agreement.
a listing agreement.
Yeah, I think you
If
can
you
cut a
just
tear
think
sheet
they
out.
tore out a
Yeah,
page
it's
to
just
go
like
with
a tear
the
sheet.
I'll bring the
Yeah.
magazines.
Even
Yeah.
better.
I think it'll be fine.
I think when you go to a listing agreement and you have all those magazines and you have the pages, I mean, it really.
I think you should be doing it. I think you should be including it in your listing.
I wanted it more.
I'm actually scared of that.
Yes.
That's why I'm bringing it up
I hear
again.
you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Are these just image ads, or are we gonna actually market properties, and are the agents
Well,
gonna
this
have?
is the deal, and I'm gonna go about the deal. Boulevard Realty, well, I'm gonna answer your question in a moment, when I get to the branding part about what the message that I'm sending here. So, we've got advertising, and there's all those places that I'm advertising, okay? Now, Boulevard Realty is also marketing. Julie is the marketer. She's having to help with advertising, but we market ourselves and we're creating an image out there. And Facebook is a way that we can market. We can put our Napa Valley Dreams promotion on the Facebook page and get a bunch of hits or whatever and a bunch of likes and people can comment, and that's a way that we're marketing. We can tweet on Twitter, and we're up to about 600 or 700 people following us on Twitter. I don't even know what that means, y'all understand that, but I get the little email all the time that so-and-so, Sam Malone is now following us on Twitter, and all these other people, the Rockets and Dynamos and all these other people, they just link to us and we link back to them, and I'm assuming that that's a lovely thing. We've been working in Yelp. We had paid to get us further up in Yelp and to get more of these things, so I get an update from Yelp every day. We definitely, are marketing ourselves through the water and through t-shirts and through hats and through wine openers and through flash drives and through the promotional things that we're doing. Events are a lovely way that I can get the message out about Boulevard Realty. I like these events like 14 Pews. It's showing that we're building a better community. We're taking on a wide range of social issues. Remember, we've done More Than Honey, which was about bees and bee colony collapse disorder. That didn't work too well, but we tried there. So we had a conversation about bees and bee colony collapse disorder. Last month with Herb and Dorothy was just a middle-class couple, a guy who worked in the post office and his wife who amassed a world-class art collection that they gave to the Metropolitan Museum of Art. Tonight's about Napa Valley Dreams. Next month we will have Knives Over Forks, which is about vegetarianism. It's about meat and our diet and the health.
He's a Baptist, he doesn't practice
Right.
that.
The next one that we're doing in the summer is called Detroitpia, and it's about the collapse of Detroit and how inner city Detroit, how they've gone from 1.4 million people down to 600,000 people. They have over 150,000 vacant homes, they have declining property values, and how does the city grapple with falling population. I think it's going to be a very interesting, another documentary that we're the world premiere of these things in the Houston market. So I'm promoting to the artist community, I'm promoting to vegetarians, I'm promoting to urban renewal people.
Wine drinkers, don't
That is
forget.
a lot of wine drinkers. Wine drinkers should be good. Those are great events for us. We sponsor a lot of other things also. So We are the platinum sponsor of the Houston Heights Association, and so we're the sponsor of these home tours. This next following weekend is the spring and home and garden tour. Boulevard Realty's name will be on every invitation, on every poster, it'll be on the tickets, it'll be at the gala, it'll be announced everywhere, and so you're hitting 550 people at a gala and about 3,000 people at a home tour. That's what you want to be associated with. Homes, urban renewal. I happen to have remodeled one of the houses, probably helps a little bit. And that was a little bungalow that we just did a 1,000 square foot addition. It's not a big mega mansion, so I think it's kind of nice that we're not always associated with tearing something down. But those are good ways for us to market ourselves there. And we're definitely working into the promotions of things. We are, through Kenny and who was Karen Durr, and now Kenny and Marianne, we're doing events cooperative with the Opera in the Heights. We host the receptions and talks for the first Thursday or Friday of every performance. We have a little talk here on the Fridays, and then we host the reception Friday and Saturday, right? Do we do the talk on the Thursdays?
No, not
It's just the Fridays. Fridays and Saturdays we host the receptions. And we're having an event at my house next Thursday, April 3rd, introducing the new executive director for Opera in the Heights. Jan is working with the group. I don't think she's here today. We're hosting a deal for the next 6 months on the final Friday of the month here at the office. Jan and I are going to be the co-host. This is through the Texas Observer. These are liberal causes like women having the right to vote and racial equality and helping those that are more disenfranchised. It's a group. There's about 75 or 80 that come to these receptions and basically network how we can solve social ills, the undereducation of immigrant families, human trafficking. You'd be surprised the number of issues that they take up or whatever, and so Jan and I are the co-host of that deal, and we're hosting it here at Boulevard Realty, so we get Boulevard Realty's name with that group.
Did you say you were going to talk about women having the right to vote?
Women's issues in
Because
general.
I was going to ask you, I said, when are they going to start being able to vote?
Women vote.
Probably outvote you.
Women vote.
Okay.
You guys ever had, I mean, we sponsor the Timber Grove Baseball Association. We sponsored, what did I do, the Westview deal? What did I do, Jennifer? What did I do? Westview Little League.
Boulevard Realty sponsored the Gay Pride Parade float for Mandel Place.
There we go. We're happy to do that again this year too, if you need.
You were part of it at, where is she, at the Crawfish Boil?
Yes, through Dusty. That was perfect. We definitely have artist events. We'll have another event April 13th. You'll soon be getting an invitation to. We're having an event at my house. It's a Sunday brunch. It's from 12 to 3. It's a venue like Bob Bisborn brings clients almost every time. You know, we want to come to my house to an art event, have some champagne and wine. It's a lot of fun, these events. They're promotional events over there. We are dedicated and working hard in education with the Summer House, which is dealing with mentally challenged young adults who are out of the school system but not yet self-sufficient. We work with the Center for Success, dealing with children who have needs through either family, drug, or alcohol-related issues. We are definitely involved with the Human Rights Campaign and with AIDS Foundation Houston, with the Epilepsy Foundation, with all of the local schools. I mean, we're working to make a difference in our communities, okay? Which I've tried to say every time, if there's something you're passionate about and you take an interest in, there's hardly anything that if an agent gets interested in that I won't go and find some way to be supportive from the company's perspective, okay? I care about the water and the air and the trees and all of those sort of issues that make neighborhoods a better place to live. And I want Boulevard Realty to be on the forefront of these issues, which help us in our marketing and in our branding, which is our conversation here. So when I think today, in 2014, what can I do to help you sell a house with regards to advertising, promotions, marketing, or branding? And there are certain things that immediately come to mind. I think we have to set ourselves apart with just the basic standard of excellence. We have to be educated. We have to be knowledgeable. We have to start there. You know, I have to make sure that you have the resources so that we know more about real estate, we know more about procedure, we know more about the topics from flood control to deed restrictions to historic districts to variances to minimum lot size. All of those sort of things impact our clients and our friends and our homeowners every day. So our primary responsibility is to make sure that you're educated, that we don't just have a group of realtors that have a license that never do it or don't know what they're doing. Ensuring that the least among us are also the most knowledgeable. That's core on my mind, that we be well educated. That we have a core ethics that's greater than the common of everyone else. If there's a standard, our standard should be higher than the others. We should disclose more. We should educate more. We have to do a better job of setting our reputation, because that really is what we have in the marketplace. What is it that we're doing? So a high level of ethics or a high standard in real estate, without being snooty about it. I mean, there's a fine line about excellence and being the best and the 1%ers. I don't want to be that. I want us to set our own standard and disregard what the other people are doing with regards to their standards. We're going to have our own standard for excellence in the marketplace. But the way people buy houses and the way people see real estate firms is different today than it was 2 years ago or 5 years ago or 20 years ago. The way they find a house is different also. So I am intentionally spending our marketing dollars and our branding sending the message about how real estate has changed. I must go and create value for what it is that we're doing. It's less about me trying to promote an individual listing or an individual house. Because remember, I have to place the Architectural Digest ad for June by April 4th, which means I need the listing by March 20th, and it was gone April 15th. So by the time it comes out in June and sits there for a month, those houses were gone. Doesn't mean that there's no value in promoting that you have houses of a certain price range, which could be from $400,000 to $4 million, or they could be diversified. But when I look at Berkshire Hathaway's ad in Sunday's paper, and I see their half page, and it's got Galveston, LaPorte, Kemah, Pearland, Cinco Ranch, all on one. Did anybody find the house from Cinco Ranch to Riverside, which is near Huntsville, in the same ad in the newspaper? I just don't even think that there's any merit to that. When I pull the Martha Turner ad and I still try and say, I'm a realtor, so I'm going to go look for houses probably in the Heights because I know most about the Heights, I can't find one. You know, because I don't even know where half of those streets are that they're advertising. If it's in Memorial and Pearland and Texas City, I don't know that street, so I don't know if Springer Street is in the east or the west or the north or the south.
By the time the buyer looks at that real estate section, it's already 2 days later.
That's right.
I mean, you can't read that real estate section.
That worked well a year ago when they stayed on the
Right.
market for 6 months. Yeah.
So we're back to trying to send a message, okay? Now, half the time I'm trying to send the message to the realtor community so that you have a good reputation with other realtors. Remember, people are specific. Realtors read real estate ads, not buyers of homes. I mean, it's normally not that interesting to read. I don't read every furniture ad because I'm not in the furniture business. You know, but I read other realtor ads, and I'm sure other realtors are reading our ads. So half of what I'm trying to do is send the message to the realtor world, and the other half I'm trying to send a message to people who are likely to support us. They may not be a buyer or they may not be a seller, but Murray Penner or the salesman Belinda at M. Penner is going to run across someone who's in from Houston, staying at the Galleria on a job search, or here for a month away someplace else, and they're going to talk to someone about buying a house and who they might use for their realtor. That's who I'm branding to, someone who can refer us. And why would they refer us? Not because I have a listing on 6th Street that's $399,000. That's not what they want anymore. They want a realtor who's going to know about the listings coming on the market soon. Or how can I help them get a loan if they're a doctor and they don't start until March, but they want their house in January? How can we help them get a house so that they don't have to be in transitional housing for 2 months or something along the way? So we're branding and sending these messages. I've been sending this series of messages about our commitment. What is it that we're doing? What is it? We stay educated. We stay informed. We communicate well. We do it with a code of ethics. We leave our community better than we found it. That's the message that I'm sending over here. And I've been sending it fairly consistent along the way. We're sending a new series of messages that, yeah, prices are up, inventory's down, creates an imbalance. Nobody likes the imbalance. Imbalances come and imbalances go. They don't always stay in balance. The pendulum shifts, and that as realtors, as business people, we can't forget where we came from, and we can't forget that it's not always going to be like this. We all remember there are hurricanes, okay? Hurricanes come. We must prepare for the next hurricane. It may be this June, or it may be 5 years from June, but there'll be another hurricane. There'll be another time when there's too much inventory and not enough buyers, okay? So we can't just sell houses with the only premise that it's always going to be like it is today. This is probably the new norm for 2014 and much of 2015. I don't think the pendulum's going to shift that quickly, but I do think that what happened, remember, I've been at it a while, so 99, 2000, things were just exactly like they were today. Everyone was building townhouses on feeder roads and on railroad tracks and on the corner of 4th and the feeder road, and it had been so good in 98, 99, and 2000, and you know what? You have a plane crash in the middle of New York, and you have the financing stop that day on September 11th or whatever. You know what? People, automatically the pendulum shifted again, and they said, you know what? Probably on a railroad tracks or feeder road or next to a convenience store is probably not a great place to be the owner of a house. I should try and sell that one. Well, I'm going to try and sell it when everyone else is going to try and sell theirs too, because now we're all going to join the Peace Corps and save the world. and we had an excess of inventory, and prices declined in those things. And we get past, we go and we get a little further, and you get to 2003, 4, 5, 6, we're on top of the world again over there. My young Enron guys went to work for $120,000 a year. They instantly made $300,000 and $400,000 on their stock options. They were buying shit and boats and beach houses and motorcycles. And you know what? That Enron stock in a day went from $80 to $1, and then it went to 8 cents. And you know what? It was not fun to have been there. And they're borrowing money from their parents to make their house payment, and they're leveraged to the hilt. They had borrowed 106%. It's not that long ago. It wasn't that long ago. And here we go to financial crisis, and the whole world's pessimistic in 8, 9, and 10. There's instability. And now we're in this boom again. But remember, in the decade, we've had 3 booms and 3 busts. And they were all pretty bad busts. They were. And so we're on this upswing, but it won't always stay this way. We've got to keep ourselves grounded into, it's a big city, lots of opportunities. It's very much tied to the international clients today. It's very much tied to oil and gas. And oil's not always going to be at $98 a barrel. It's going to be at $32 a barrel someday. And they probably can make money at $32 a barrel, but the stigma of it will not be very good. And I think just having a sense of history should keep us where we stay focused on what we do. Property values, if you buy in a good neighborhood or not on the peripheral, are going to be fine. The interstate's not going to get any smaller though, okay? If it's on 30th Street now and you sell on 29th Street, the likelihood is that 29th Street is going to be on the interstate. The railroad tracks probably are not going to move anytime soon. You probably have light speed rail where you have that rail now too. So I mean, there are evolving neighborhoods, and some are going to get better than others, but I don't know that a bad location is going to solve itself immediately there. I think bad locations generally stay bad locations. If you're on Meadow Lake and you back to San Felipe, you're always going to back to San Felipe. I mean, that's just how it's gonna be there. And there's always gonna be someone that wants to live in River Oaks, but they're not always gonna want it back to San Felipe. So, we're trying to send these messages. The brand of Boulevard Realty is our reputation. What is the message that we're sending? And I'm trying to send the message that, hey, we know what we're doing. We're committed to doing it. We're doing it with a commitment of excellence and with a code of ethics that make a difference. In boom times, anyone can sell a house. Urban Living is going to have an amazing year in 2014. I know that they're going to. It's just because it's a boom out there. But I don't know that I want to model myself after their boom. I'll model myself after our own boom over here. Maybe they're going to be more successful than us in 2014, but I don't know they're going to be more successful than us in the long haul there. The thing about the sales too, you've got to realize the company is doing well. Okay, we've had some bad years, but we're doing particularly well. We grapple with how do we keep up with the same thing. January of 2009, I bought the company in May. The company did $2.5 million in January in volume. Okay, did $2.5 million in January. Really, 10 million is the goal, in case you wondered. 2.5 million January of 2009. 2010, we did 3.5 million. 2011, we did 4.5 million. 2012, we did 5 million. 2013, we did 6 million. So the trend was good. I mean, I think all that's positive, whatever. January 2014, we did $10.5 million, 62% higher than we did the January before. That's all lovely. I mean, and that's very good. You take all the months are like that. Every month, we're up 40 and 50%. So I can't keep up. The same with inventory. January 31st, the firm had $32 million worth of listings. Yesterday, the firm had $61 million worth of listings. So 90 days later, we have twice as many listings as we did 90 days ago. In March, the company will do around $21, $22 million. Very good. We're happy about that, whatever. You know, but remember, in January, we did 10. March, we did 20. The phones ring twice as much. The people are twice as busy. Sandra's twice as busy, right? And the same people are twice as busy with that same deal. And March is a good month, but it's not even the best month. The best months still get busier and busier and busier. The reason I say that is, A, so you can kind of see, I mean, I'm able to spend more money in advertising because I have more money to spend in advertising. But we're busier, and it creates a certain amount of stress, I think. So we have to have an expectation. That's why it's more important that we turn the files in 2 days after the option period and not the day before closing, because it's harder for us to get to them because there's 14 people in front of you or whatever. But we're going to do our best with those sort of things along the way. It doesn't, you know, I'm just mentioning it so that you have a perspective of where we're coming from. We're not going to get too many more agents. I've added these agents, but just so you know, I mean, I'm definitely not going to push to add a lot of agents. I really think we're probably at our optimum number here. There's a limit to how many people that we can have. We can't fit any more people, really, and might take a couple more people just for the Westview office, but I don't really think adding more agents is not what we're going to be about. It's going to be about helping the ones that are here. But the brand, the marketing, and the messages are soon. I mean, these are what they're going to be. We're going to start a new round of the same general message, but it's going to be about Houston, and it's going to be about us in other areas. Us, Boulevard Realty in Herman Park, Boulevard Realty downtown, Boulevard Realty on the east side, Boulevard Realty in Grays Heights. It's my core belief is that I need to spend our image outside of the Heights area, get better entrenched into Montrose and Upper Kirby and Southgate and Southampton. And one way to do that is to promote those areas a little bit more. I can have events in the east side. I can sponsor something at Dynamo Stadium. I can sponsor something at Discovery Green. I can sponsor something on the Esplanades on North and South Boulevard. So we're going to send this message. We're never going to leave the Heights, and we're certainly with Bell Heights and the promotions that we're going to have through that. I think we're going to get an ample opportunity to promote some exciting things in the Heights, which is an amazing place to be. But I want to go send the message that I want our realtors to be identified outside of the Heights. And so we're taking a series of photographs, architectural photographs. We've hired a guy, to get us branded at Herman Park, the trees of South Main, not necessarily the trees of Baylen at the moment. So I'm kind of excited about where that direction is going to lead us. It'll kind of start in the summer and lead us through the rest of the year. And it's just talking about amazing Houston things, which get us entrenched to amazing Houston people or whatever, so that we can work on that sort of thing. And then just the basic neighborhood message. We want to build better neighborhoods. We want to build better schools. We want realtors entrenched into their neighbors, and we want the homeowners that we sell a house to know that we're committed. Once we make the sell, we're committed to building their neighborhood, making it safer. Crime and safety and security are always foremost. I go to a lot of political meetings, and I tell them over and over and over, if people don't feel safe in their neighborhoods, you don't have stability. They won't send their kids there, you won't have rising property values, you won't have a core neighborhood when people don't feel like they can't get out and walk in their neighborhood without fear of something happening. And so promotion of safety and security is huge on my list. Promotion of schools, because schools provide stabilities in neighborhoods. And then walkability. I mean, I think the largest issue that I see for those of us that have been here is how many people are coming, and the traffic, and that's related to all those sort of things. Do you know how long it takes me to get from Whole Foods back to the Heights at 5:30 in the afternoon? You used to sit here in a minute and a half. And I look again at where that Walmart is and all those things right there at Yale. I'm just going, 4 years ago, this was San Jacinto Stone and a metal warehouse that was a toxic dump. And today, it's got 100,000 people a day in traffic over there shopping at the places, which I'm happy to see. I mean, I think it's better than a toxic dump in San Jacinto Stone myself. But it's just, the more and more successful they are, the more and more of those things we're going to have.
Studemont's backed up past Washington.
Yeah.
I mean, it backs up all the way.
Tied to that grocery supply, they will be widening.
Where the new McDonald's is going to be.
With a new McDonald's.
And the grocery supply is going away, they're doing a multi.
Yes, it'll be just like Highland Village, it'll be like that new deal on Lower Westheimer, in Westheimer there, across Asphodel. Yes, Jim?
Yeah, adjacent to Kroger, there's a warehouse that, it's called Target, and they do flooring, commercial flooring. That property was sold to Home Depot. So they're about to waylay that, all that building down there, and they're gonna put a big Home Depot back in that corner.
Yeah.
Hey, also on HAR with Housing Trend e-newsletter.
Yes.
You're familiar with it?
Just a little bit.
Go in and check on it, and there are multiple videos, one with Ted Jones, chief economist for Stewart Title Company. And he states that our Houston projected growth of about 100,000 people a year last year was 175,000.
Right. I mean, and tied to that growth, more and more people feel like the inner city is safer also. And so we're getting more people just in general, but we're getting way more people into these inner loop areas that we never have had before. So we're just gonna have to grapple with it and get ready. I love this ad. This is Starbucks, and so we're gonna start, but they're sending a message. Same thing, Starbucks can go and put pumpkin lattes or peppermint mint lattes or whatever the spring choice is. I don't really know what this is. But this little message, and I'm sure this ad cost them $100,000. They had it several times, but what it's saying is, here's a message that I think is a pretty good message of it. They do a lot of transactions, some of which they do great, and some they might not always do right. But the message they're sending, it doesn't matter what you want, they're going to make it right. Okay? This is the core message that they're sending over there. Not that it's cheaper, not that it's better, not that it's cleaner, not that they use organic beans, not that they bought them from fair trade. I mean, they probably do all of those sort of things, but they've probably talked about that in the past. But what they're trying to probably say is, if you've ever gotten the wrong order at Starbucks, or you ever had a frustrating time at Starbucks, or you ever had to wait in line at Starbucks, here's how they're reaching back out to you again. They're going back after either new clients or lost clients by saying, we're going to make it right. which I think is a pretty good core message to send in 2014. You want to do business with people who want to do it right or whatever. And it's, you know, it's the same thing. I look at our deal, the same thing. I can go put Redan on there for $430,000 if that's what I want to go send, or do I want to send a different message? And sometimes the messages are like this. Crazy time in real estate. It's a trend we've seen before. That's why you need a seasoned agent and a firm with stability to get you through good times and bad times. That is the message that we're trying to send over there, which is different from probably other people over there.
Is that appealing to a seller or a buyer in your mind?
I would think a buyer more so. I would think a buyer.
That's my whole question that I keep going back to. I think what you're doing is great. And I was, for a long time, because I think you're smarter than all the rest of the brokers that are out there. You have so much to say. And so I think it's awesome that people are getting to what we know, everybody else is getting to know. But how do you compete when you go on a listing appointment and every other firm has got an ad in Paper City for that $2 million house? Or, you know, how do you,
But I described
what
to the
do we
sellers
say?
how people are buying houses, and they're not buying houses by seeing an ad in the newspaper anymore. They didn't buy fruit. If there were bananas advertised in 19 different places, that's probably not the message. They don't care if bananas are 10 times more expensive at Whole Foods than they are at H-E-B or Fiesta. But you know they're lined up over there at Whole Foods because Whole Foods is sending a message that their store is cleaner, that it has more variety, that it's ethically grown, that it's organic, that you can get something at Whole Foods that you can't get at Fiesta. Fiesta you can get cheaper. But they're not able to compete in the economy today against a Whole Food. They just closed their brand new Fiesta store in Sugar Land because they're not sending the right message to that consumer. So I'm trying to say the same thing. The consumer is buying a house through HAR. Okay? They're going to HAR, and that's where they're going to look at houses, and that's where we're going to go promote the houses. We have to find a way to get a seller and a buyer and an agent to understand we know what we're doing, that we're going to do it. That a buyer that's going to go right on Redan of Bradley Miller, that Bradley is not going to go take the first buyer that came through Boulevard Realty and get that offer signed quickly, because you know what, that's not in the best interest of the seller of Redan. The seller of Redan needs to leave the house on the market 4 or 5 days, get 10 offers and decide which one's the best, which may not be the highest priced, maybe one that's all cash or not subject to financing. There's lots of reasons why you would want to choose a firm to represent you, because our core values are going to be in alignment with doing what's best for you. That's the message I think we can say. Not that I can take your house and put it in the Chronicle tomorrow. That's probably not how real estate works in 2014. It works a different way. You know what we have to do? We have to get us, it's not finding a buyer anymore either. Realtors don't find the buyer. We get us through the process. Okay, we service after the sale. This is what we're doing. So if you're not paying us 6% to bring a buyer, they could put the for sale by owner sign and get a bunch of buyers. But getting the buyer or getting under contract is the beginning. It's not even, we're not to the end. That's like showing up at the game and never once scoring if you're the Astros. You got to get to the end of the game and you got to win. And real estate is doing, that's what realtors are doing. They're getting us, it's not finding the buyer. It's getting us through the financing, it's getting us through the inspection, it's getting us through the glitches, it's understanding the title commitments and the surveys and the deed restrictions and the cost for remodeling, and it's making sure that we, with wisdom, chose the best buyer, not a buyer. And that's, I mean, it's a hard battle to go and explain. I mean, I think it's just education.
It's about relationship building too.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, I mean, you're not, yeah, it's more than somebody just seeing a house in a newspaper. It's what we also have talked about in the ads. Continuous referrals are our reward for the service that we provide. It's about building relationships, personal marketing. And I see some of these guys out here doing a really great job on it. I follow most of you on Facebook, and for those, Star always has things on there, usually once a week, about I saw this ad, or saw this place, it's not her listing, but she's saying, anybody looking for something like this? Brad does a really good job of saying, just listed, just sold, letting people know what he's doing. Melanie does the same thing. Some of y'all do a really great job. Cynthia always sending out her postcards. I have a stack of them of my house. If I was looking for a realtor, I would go, gee, where's that card from? That cute Cynthia Mullen. Yeah.
That's really what we're going to talk about next week, is what you're doing to parlay, to partner up with what Boulevard. It's important that you know what Boulevard Realty is doing. And this is what we're doing. I'm advertising in those places. I'm doing this marketing promotion. This is the brand and reputation that I'm trying to create over here. Next week, it's about how Jamie Klein can do that same thing. How's Jamie going to take her realtor position and parlay it with Boulevard Realty and go over there and find her niche within the niche? How is Bradley going to be able to take this information and set a plan for 2015? Here's what I've done well, here's what I'm doing now, and it's going to lead me to get to this. I intentionally do this with my own career. I want a certain number of new constructions, because I like new constructions, because your sign stays out in the yard 9 months, okay? It gives me visibility in a neighborhood that I can't get by placing an ad in Paper City. If I have a house in Riverview and Tanglewood and that sign stays up for a year, that's pretty good PR for Boulevard Realty. It helps us all do that. But I also got my ass kicked in new construction when they didn't sell, so I never want more than 50% of my business to be new construction. I've got to make sure that I intentionally work with my past buyers to be a referral for other buyers, because I want to have so many buyers over here versus so many sellers. I'm generally known as a listing agent. I closed West Pierce yesterday, but today I'm closing Brooktree, a house in Timber Grove. I represent the buyer. I got him. He serves on my epilepsy board with me. I sold his brother a house. His brother bought a modern house from Shade House Development. That's how I'm networking. I go to those epilepsy board meetings so that they understand I am the realtor connection between the epilepsy world and them. I know nothing about epilepsy, except I can be a resource for the Epilepsy Society to the realtor world, okay? And through that, I can get business from that, which is, it's not all self-serving, but it's what we're trying to do, diversify my career into buyers and sellers, into new construction versus the resale, and I try not to have more than 50% of any of those deals anymore. But I have a plan. I have a plan to work with so many buyers and a plan to work with so many listings or whatever. And I want you to have the same plan. You can't just think, I'm going to go to an open house and I'm going to get a buyer tomorrow. That is a component of where you're going to get it. But you've got to have another plan for yourself. First, professionally, you've got to say, I'm going to go get these buyers from this market. The medical industry, the legal industry, the relocation industry, the oil and gas industry, young mothers, young lawyers, disabled people, elderly, the people in the east side. You have to pick an area and let's work on a plan. But it's the same thing. You can't plan it in 30 days long. It's a long plan because they're not going to get a postcard from you and decide to go use you tomorrow or whatever. It's going to take more than that. So you need to make sure that you have a plan of where you're going to get the business. We'll take it from anywhere, so you have to do an open house in order to get a buyer so that you can keep the revenue going. But I think you really need a plan of action, and we're entrenched into 2014, so what we're going to do in 2014 is going to pay off for you in 2015. What am I going to do now that's going to make a difference, because it's going to be good in real estate all of 14 and most of 15. We're investing in Bell Heights. We're investing a lot of time, money, and energy, and the payoff for Donna is going to be in 2015. It isn't going to be in 2014. We need to find a way for Donna to sell some houses right quick here, but all of this effort of design and stuff is not, those houses aren't going to close this summer. They're not going to be ready by then. So that is a way, but we need to make sure that we take those buyers, and Donna, when we're done with Bell Heights, this was the Sudol problem. The realtor worked on this project, when that project's gone, now they have to go 30 miles someplace else, and they never built up a core team, a core group of buyers that is a client referral base or whatever. We need to make sure that Donna gets the referral, that she can sell their house in Kingwood when they come and buy the penthouse at Bell Heights or whatever, and that we get their children and their friends, and that we keep those people entrenched into our deal so that there's a referral network that's outside of just Bell Heights. That's the intentional plan there, is get Donna a referral base of clients that were hers and not Jacob's. That's the biggest difference in what we're here about. So, but that's really what next week's all about. It's continuing this dialogue of what you're doing, and everyone does it differently. I don't have a Facebook page. Boulevard Realty does, but I don't even know how to log in. Some people it's really, really, really important. That's their core base. That's probably not my base. My base is having a party. I'm better at having a party than I am taking a picture of what food I had for lunch. I don't get that. But that works for some people. You know, so it doesn't matter what it is. Find your way, be thinking about what you can do, and then let's continue this dialogue next week. Yes?
I have one announcement.
Okie dokie.
This Saturday from 9:30 to 12, I've hired the president of the Professional Tour Guide Association of Houston to give a historic tour of the Heights. It's not a home tour. It's about things like Mr. Tully and his auto shop down here that used to make leather covers for carriages and Model Ts, and we're going to take the scenic route that people used to take from the Heights into downtown, that type of thing. And tomorrow at noon, I still have a couple spaces left, and tomorrow at noon I still have them. I'd like to open it up to y'all and anyone who wants to bring their client. Let me know, and I'll check those spaces, because I don't want to have an empty seat on the bus. And I'll be serving mimosas and coffee and
When is
whatnot. Saturday, 9:30 to 12, and we'll start here. We'll start here. So it should be really, really good. It'll be lots of fun.
And then I have one announcement. So our annual Avon Breast Cancer team called These Boobs Were Made for Walking. Yes, that was our team name, I promise. We're having our annual happy hour. It's one of our most fun fundraising events. It is tomorrow evening at the personal home of Leslie Leopard and Joanna Lewis. It's a new construction. Leslie's a builder here in the Heights, Vintage Builders. Her sister, Courtney Leopard, is Modern Bungalow, which is Melissa's partner. We're the exclusive listing agent for Modern Bungalow. Courtney's also on our team. We have the whole Leopard sisters on our team. And we have Glenn's been able to put together the flyer and stuff. So the happy hour is tomorrow, 4 to 7 at 919 Oxford. We'll leave these flyers out. The cost is $35 donation to get in. We have fabulous silent auction items. It's Columbia, excuse me, thank you. That's Sharon Durwan's house. 919 Columbia. Don't go to Sharon Durwan's house because she's going to be at the party. 919 Columbia is the address. It's 4 to 7. It's $35 to get in. We have fabulous silent auction items. We always get rave reviews on that. We'll feed you. We're going to give you alcohol. So all the things that you need, you'll have a lot of fun and a lot of great events. We certainly hope a lot of you come out. And if for some reason you can't, I'll send out a link. You can still make a donation to your favorite Boobs Team Walker.
Just so you know too, April 6th, which is the Sunday of the Spring and Home Garden Tour, the city is in a test mode of making the city more pedestrian friendly. So White Oak will be closed from Heights Boulevard all the way down past 45 and Quitman, okay? You will not be able to drive on White Oak. You will not be able to get to the White Oak condominiums from there. You will not be able to get to Cultivar.
If you live there, you can.
Yeah, barely, in a limited deal. So you will be able to cross on Studewood at White Oak intermittently. They'll have police. We're finalizing the plan next on Wednesday or whatever, but it's not like you're going to be able to even cross White Oak at Studewood easily. It's April 6th. It's from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. And they're doing this throughout the city. This is the largest one they've ever done at White Oak or whatever. Remember, the spring home tour is going on, but you will not be able to not be able to go from White Oak to Studewood or Studewood to Usner. The city of Houston.
I'm going to say busing people around or something? Or
they're not really busing. They're designing for it to be pedestrian friendly, for you to walk down White Oak and shop and eat and stroll.
Wow.
So
Yeah, so people-
So can you cross, like coming down Studewood to White, can you cross where BB's is?
Well, in theory, it's blocked, and they will have policemen there to intermittently let people through there. But no, they want you to go over to Shepherd and route yourself back around 7th Street. Or go to 45 and exit North Main and come back that way. I mean, it's going to be a little bit of a pain right there at Studewood and White Oak, because theoretically, it's pedestrian friendly for those 4 hours where people can walk, rollerblade, bike, walk their dogs, stroll their kids.
It's to bring families, to bring people together on a Sunday. It started in Columbia, it's something that happens all over the world, and it's to help the community kind of get to know each other.
Yeah, it's perfect.
Let's set up a stage and do a concert.
I think it's a great event, and they're going to do more of these throughout the city, so this was kind of a test one that they're doing.
Last time we were doing Washington Avenue.
They're doing Washington, I don't know if it's the same day.
No, it's
in
one
July.
Sunday a month, a different street.
Should be fun.
Are we doing anything for the Bayou City Art Festival?
We didn't really do anything for the Bayou City Art Festival this year. We just decided that it was already such a busy time, we didn't really have the volunteers, so we're not doing that. For the spring, we might look at it again in the fall. But we didn't have the VIP tent or anything this time.
Okay.
Good question. Any other comments, questions? Welcome those of you that are new. Thank you for coming. That's it. Thank you very much.
Guys.